Welcome to Sober.Coffee, a weekly coffee chat sharing experience, strength, and hope for anyone on the sober road to recovery. You can download Sober.Coffee weekly on all podcast platforms and check us out on Instagram at Sober.Coffee Podcast and on Twitter at SoberCoffeePod. To learn more about us and to help support these sessions, visit online at Sober.Coffee. Here are your hosts, two guys on their own path to recovery, Mike and Glenn. Let's join them at the coffee shop.
Morning, G.
Hey, what's up, my brother? How are you, man?
Good. Hey, that was pretty funny. Before we went live there, we were kind of chatting in the coffee shop here with our engineer, and I thought it was fun because, and it hit me that, you know, we were joking about some of our out of our mind days, right? And how can you laugh at it, right? Well, you know, I laugh at it now because first of all, it was funny. I mean, I did some very funny things, you know, like one time. We go to a concert, a Bob Seger concert, and I go with my friend PC, and we did some recreational acid on the way there. You know,
oh my God.
Yes. So wait. We're there.
How do you do recreational acid?
Yes. So we go there, and we're just stoned out of our heads. And at the end of the show, for the last song, Alto Reed, Bob Seger's saxophone player, appears on the top of the Marshall stacks, jumps off them and proceeds to do somersaults up into the sky, into the middle of the Chicago Stadium, and then makes his way back, doing backflips all the way, ends out the song on the top of the Marshall acts. The house lights go down. The people are all cheering. Okay, fast forward about 15 minutes. The stadium is about cleared. Lights have come on. The stadium is about cleared out. Me and PC are still sitting stoically in our seats, and I looked at him and I said, "Did you just see that?" And he goes, "See what?"
Oh, my gosh.
We didn't know if it was real or not real. It turns out that when we read the review, that was Alto's big thing. But we thought we were, you know, this was just a step beyond reality. So anyway, yeah, I love telling war stories. There was fun stuff, but
I have a good metaphor for that
Yes.
recreational acid, but I'm not going to say it.
All right.
It's too good.
Oh,
by the way,
yes.
I heard... I will. I'm just going to tell you right now. I will not say it, but I heard a joke, a sobriety joke, about non-alcoholic beer. That is probably the best joke I've ever heard in my life.
Come on, give it up.
No,
why?
Because we will lose all 5 listeners we have.
Okay, good. Then save it away.
But
yes,
don't do
it. Yes.
It is. It is an amazing joke.
Anyway,
I mean, you know what? Yeah. Recreational acid. I've never done acid. I've never done coke. Thank God.
At least I didn't say medicinal.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the same thing. Right.
My doctor told me to
great.
take it.
That's great. All right. What are we talking about?
All right.
Always great to be in the coffee shop with you.
Yeah. So doing it on your own, I think, was a topic that you threw out there when we talked about coming to the coffee shop. You said, you know, doing it on your own, and that just saying that out loud kind of made me cringe. But I'd love to unpack it because I come at this from a whole different side than I think most people do. Certainly, I come at it from a different side than AA does. AA is a we program and how it works, which we read at every meeting. You know, the word we, us, etc. is probably mentioned 18, 20 times in there.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
It's never I. It's always we. And that's all good.
Well, that's for those who choose AA.
Sure, that's good
You know,
and grand for everybody. But
So let me tell you, when we started this, I just sent you the picture last night of our first dinner together where we were talking about doing a podcast during COVID, and we both had our masks on, and and we literally said to each other, "What are we going to talk about?" And I mean, we literally, I'm like, "Oh, okay, you know, we can do it behind the counter and just talk about what the show's about." And then the next one, you tell your story, I'll tell my story. That's 2 more episodes. And then one of us had a genius idea. Hey, man, there's 12 steps. What if we did a show for each step? I'm like, man, now we're rolling, right? We got like 15 episodes, right? And now we're 300 plus. We've had guests, we've topic. But I'm telling you what, if we ever need a topic, right? If we ever dry on topics, and we never have been and we never will be, all we have to do is go on social media for 5 minutes.
Right.
And we get 3 new topics.
There you go.
But, I mean, just this morning, and we podcast early. We podcast at 6 a.m. on Saturdays in Chicagoland. So I was up early. Just this morning, a guy was sharing that he was detoxing by himself. He's on day 3, major drinker, day 3. He's detoxing by himself.
At home or in the hospital?
At home.
Oh, that's so dangerous.
Because he's his own doctor.
Oh,
right?
That's so dangerous.
And, I mean, people die doing that
Yes,
stuff.
they do.
Right? You get DTs, you get tremors, you get strokes.
I ended up in intensive care when I detoxed.
Yeah. So, a couple things about doing it on your own is, number one, the number one thing I go to, and hey, I'm guilty just like everybody. I went for years. I've got this, right? I was so strategic at work and business plans and ideas and just genius at times. And I'm like, I can fix this. I've got this. I'll figure this out, right? Well, what we've learned, a phrase that we use is, it's hard to fix a problem with the same brain that created it. And let's use the second one that we love. It's hard to read the label on your own jar. Mm-hmm. So if you're truly an alcoholic and you think you're going to figure this out on your own, mm-hmm. and you're going to take your life from alcoholic, painful hell mm-hmm. into joyous, peaceful bliss all by yourself, send me your name, mm-hmm. because you are the one person in the world that figured it out. Mm-hmm. And there might be 2 people. I don't know. But from our experience, from all the guests we've had and all the people we sponsor and all the meetings we've been at, and we're pro sobriety, right? We've had every program in the world on here, and the ones I mean, people mock AA and say AA doesn't work. Okay,
it works for us.
Yeah. Okay. I mean,
but
you can't say AA doesn't work.
Right,
you can't say that.
Right.
What you can say, if you're that short of focus, you can say AA doesn't work for me. Mm-hmm. Okay, I'll buy that. Mm-hmm. But you can't say AA doesn't work. But I love the ones out there, all the other programs out there. There's about half of them that are kind of shaped like AA. Mm-hmm. Like they don't have 10 steps, they don't have 12 steps, they have 10 steps. Right. Come on. Mm-hmm. Or they have 12 steps and they just call them something else. Okay, whatever. But they had one, I forget what it's called. It's a create your own recovery program. Mm-hmm. I did that for years and just kept digging deeper and deeper and deeper.
I know. I tried everything to change. I changed what I drank, and I ended up.
You try beer versus liquor?
Yeah, I went from vodka to whiskey, thinking how I'm never going to drink whiskey.
It's the clear liquors that are getting me. I'm going to go to brown ones.
Right. Well, interesting. Yeah, I think a couple things. First of all, Glenn, I think that we're born alone, we die alone. Right? Is a mantra that I live by my whole life. We born alone, we die alone, and life is to be lived alone. That's how I lived, and I had people around me, but I didn't. I was a do-it-yourself kind of guy. I'll figure it out. I'll do it myself.
Well, you're very much a strategist too. You're a strategic genius. So
Right.
you had to have thought, I got this.
I absolutely got this. That's right. Use people around me to get what I need, and everything will work out fine. That was Mike's MO. What I've found is that now when I serve people around me, I get more than what I ask for.
What did it take to realize that? Experience?
Well,
Surrender?
yeah, experience, surrender, and really an introduction to the principles and practices of Alcoholics Anonymous. I mean, it kind of shaped it out for me that I had to buy into a couple of the phrases. You said one a couple of weeks ago on an episode. You have to, in order to get it, you have to give it away. Right? That made no sense to me. But the more I came to realize that if I'm serving other people, I get more than I bargained for in return. And you can't do that in a bubble. I can't serve myself. If I'm in a bubble, the only person to serve is myself. And that just didn't work for me.
Yeah, I just think, I think ego, right? I got this. I mean, I remember standing on my balcony at this hotel room in Colorado looking at the Rocky Mountains, and I was like 13 months sober, and I remember I was talking to my sponsor, and it was all ego. That whole week, that whole conference, it was ego, how great Glenn is, what's Glenn doing, look at Glenn nailing it, look at Glenn. Look at Glenn working 20 hours a day, what a stud, you know. It was all ego, and I remember talking to my sponsor on the phone saying, dude, I've got this. Mm-hmm. And I relapsed all the way home. 13 months out the window. You know, I mean, this is, I mean, I'm telling you, if you're out there trying it on by yourself, you know, I will predict your future.
Right.
You know, you will do better. I'm not saying whatever. What I'm saying is you will do better if you get some help. If you walk the path with somebody and you find the right path. Our path we found was AA, right? People do okay on other paths, I'm sure. I've heard success stories on other paths. But what I can tell you definitively, if you surrender the steps of AA, number one, you got a community around you immediately that has experience. I call my sponsor the lighthouse for a reason. Mm-hmm. He knows where the rocks are, you know, and he knows how to, and you'll learn a new way to live that you don't need to escape from. Mm-hmm. And the new way to live is so rewarding. Unfortunately, you know, for me, I had to learn it for myself slowly. You know, I wouldn't take your word for it.
What do you say to the gal out there that, like, I know them. I've got family members that 15 years ago said no to the drink, and for the final time. They had said no to the drink prior to that. They had a big drinking problem. They said no to the drink. They went to a couple of meetings of Alcoholics Anonymous. They went to a couple of meetings of Celebrate Recovery, and they bounced around, got a little bit of a foundation, and then for the last 13 years, they just choose not to drink, right? And they're not really living by the principles or practices of a structured program, but they're successfully abstained from drinking.
So here's what I would tell them. Congratulations.
Right.
I mean, that's amazing. My immediate thought is, you weren't that bad. Mm-hmm. You know, I think, you know, one of the things they say in AA, you know, how far you've come down the scale. Mm-hmm. I think the further down, the harder it is to come back. Mm-hmm. And I have a sponsee that went a third of the way down. Mm-hmm. It didn't take the effort that it took me to get the third of the way back, right? If I went 95% of the way down, it takes longer than 30%, right? What I will say to those people is, first of all, brace you, hug you, man, pro sobriety, congrats, great job. I think where the shortfall is, for me, is it wasn't about not drinking.
Right. Yeah,
I mean that was kind of the entrance
what I've gained from this 12-step program is
how to live. You mean
is how to live?
Yep.
Yeah. Right. I mean, the abstinence part that's pretty much a layup. I mean, that's the easy part of my job. I just don't take a sip, but
which was hard,
right? Which
initially, but then what happened? Well, it was hard for me because that's the only tool that I had to deal with life. The only tool. Right. I hated myself. I couldn't deal with myself. I couldn't look at myself in the mirror, right? I hated being my own thoughts. Remember the story? I sat for 3 hours in a white chair. Right. I went out of my mind. Right. Literally, I'm not bullshit. I went out of my mind because I hated myself. So for me, not drinking is like sitting in that chair. Yeah. You know, okay, I don't drink, but now I got all these feelings, emotionals. Now I got the fears, regrets, resentments, you know, shame, remorse, self-hate. And I got all these consequences, and I have no tools to either escape or deal with them.
Right. Now, I agree with
that's worse.
Absolutely everything you just said. The program of AA has delivered me tools, techniques that for me to process life so that I don't have to drink. Right. However, I will say that if somebody listening or not listening has found abstinence and a way to stay away from the drink, I think that's great. I would disagree where their level of pain was. I would disagree with you on maybe they didn't have it that bad. I think they did, because I know for me, my motivator early on which didn't make it hard for me to stop the drink, was the pain that I had experienced, the deep emotional emptiness that I felt. I didn't want to feel that again, right? But I guess my point is, I'm always happy for anybody who has found a way to living without drugs or alcohol. If that was affecting their life, they're in a better place now. I think that, yes, there's more to be had, but I'm always grateful if somebody found something, even if it's outside of AA, that is providing them a better way to live.
Yeah, so I would say that was really good insight. I focused on what AA's delivered, right? I couldn't,
right, because you've lived it.
I couldn't find it anywhere else.
Right.
So
right.
I read every book. I read so many help books.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, God, I kept a lot of people rich, by buying all these books. I couldn't find it anywhere else. Are there other places? Absolutely, right? If I look at my life before I really started drinking, I didn't really start drinking heavy until I was 35. So I have a good case study before that. But how I lived was self-serve. It was not it was not a rewarding way of living. It was rewarding from an ego stroke. It was rewarding from a pocketbook perspective. Nothing else.
Right.
And now today, it's funny. I don't care about the ego. I don't care about the pocketbook. I care about peace, serving, purpose, right? Legacy.
Right.
You can't leave it if you don't live it, right? Just living better. And I couldn't do all that by myself. I couldn't get. I have so many inputs in my life right now. I have therapists. I got church. I got a men's group. Spiritual group. I've got AA. I still do readings. I do meditations. I do interactions with sober people. I have sponsees. I'm involved with the sober living. I mean, there's so many things I do that feed me. There's no way I can do it by myself. I proved that.
Right. And here's the thing. For anybody who's listening who is like, I don't know, AA, not AA, whatever, find a program that works for you to help you stop drinking. And there's many ways that you can do that. But if you're looking to embrace a new way of living, go the AA route. AA was one of the 8 things you just mentioned, Glenn. But in a meeting, so again, for those that are sober curious and don't know anything about what happens behind the closed doors of AA, first of all, it's not AA pushing this agenda. It's 10, 12 people sitting around a table supporting each other.
It's very similar stories.
Yes, with very similar stories. And alcohol is just the, what did Dr. John say? Alcohol is just the admission ticket, right? But so that's a common thread amongst us, but the focus is not on, what do I do to not drink? No, the focus is really on what do I do to live better, right? Because if you're living better, you distance yourself from the need for that drink.
It reminds me of that guy that reached out early in our podcast days. He reached out. He's got 4 years sober now. And he's like, Glenn, he's like, look, man, this AA stuff, I know you talk about AA. He goes, I can't go to a meeting. And it was funny because I'm in Chicago and he's in the Philadelphia area, right where I grew up. And so he literally lives right where I grew up. And he goes, I can't go to a meeting, man. I just can't. I'm like, why? And he goes, man, then everybody here, locally knows me and they're gonna know that I have an alcohol problem. They're gonna judge me for that. I'm like, bro, they're in the meeting because they have an alcohol problem.
Right.
I don't think there's going to be much judgment going on. I think there's going to be some alignment going on.
Absolutely. There's a camaraderie.
Instant camaraderie.
In my years, I've walked into meetings because I try and frequent other meetings aside from the group that we go to, and I'll walk into another meeting, and boom, there's somebody from my social circle that's sitting around the table, and I'm like, and we just kind of give each other the, kind of like the Harley guys got the wave, you just kind of give each other that little wink and a nod, and you're like, yep, we're here for the same reason.
I know. I'll tell you what, I went to one in Manhattan a couple weeks ago, and at noon, 60 people.
Wow.
It was like I just walked in with a bunch of brothers and sisters.
Yeah, right.
Like nothing.
Right. Yeah.
It's just amazing, right? Yep. But I will say, maybe effort to kind of, I'll tell you what, just to kind of wrap up with how he started. it's hard to fix a problem with the same brain that created it. You need some outside influence. And 2, it's hard to read a label in your own jar. And, AA for us, but, hey, find a therapist, right? Right. Find a church, find, outside influences, because if you keep thinking the same way, you're going to get the same result.
Right. And the beauty of what AA delivers in these meetings, right? And you kind of surrender to the group. You go in. I love Big Bill. We've had him on before, right? And
no, we have not had him on.
Come on, Big Bill's not been in the coffee shop?
Never.
Oh, let's get Big Bill in the coffee shop. All right. Anyway, Big Bill will say, I'm telling on myself today. And then you've got 8 people who can kind of
nod along because they understand.
And maybe one of them shares a story about how they overcame that same problem. Right?
Yeah, it's amazing.
It is amazing.
You know what? It's almost, I'll say it, it's almost foolish if you try to do it yourself.
Okay.
The guy this morning, DTs, and the dude's gonna have a stroke. And yet he's like, oh, I can do this by myself. And everybody jumped on him, man, like, you're an idiot. You're going to die. Like, this is serious stuff, And so, you know what? If you're out there thinking, I'm not judging you, but I'm judging you saying can't do it alone.
Right. Yep. I'm glad we're doing it together, Glenn.
Man, we've done it together for a long time now. I love it.
Sounds good, man.
All right. See you, brother.
Thanks for joining us for today's coffee chat. To contact the show, email us at podcast@Sober.Coffee. If you need immediate help, the AA hotline is 800-839-1686. The National Suicide Prevention Hotline is 800-273-8255. Remember, Mike and Glenn are sharing their own journey on the path to recovery. Any suggestions, medical or otherwise, are their own experiences and should not be viewed as professional advice. See you next week, and remember, there is a solution.